Hello friend, it's Mark out on the back 40, and in this episode we're going to launch a DIY habitat planner or property planner, whatever you want to call it. Over time I have talking to some of you guys on the phone, doing some consults kind of thing, messages and comments in the videos below. I think that there's a situation on YouTube where we don't have a tool to look at the real big picture to plan our property. Where do I put a blind? Where do I put food? Where do I put bedding? There's a lot of videos on how to do all those things, but not necessarily how to look at your property as a whole from a 30,000 foot view in an airplane and figure out where to put those things. So this video, what you're going to do is look in the comment below or in the description of this video below. There's a link there. That link takes you to the document that I'm going to be talking about in this video. That is literally a step-by-step guide that take you from a blank piece of paper for your property. 15 minutes later, hopefully, you're going to know exactly where to put a blind, where to put food, where to put everything to make your property better. So again, the link below, before you even watch any more, I just pause this, go down to the link, get that document, have that in front of you while you go through the rest of this video. And the other thing I want to say is that this video is probably going to be kind of rough. This is just not my thing, is doing a whiteboard. So I didn't know exactly how to do it, but I did the best that I could. So have a little forgiveness for me on that. And then the other thing is, I feel rushed. I'm always in a hurry to do a video real quick because I don't want to bore you and I don't want to bore me. And so I probably missed a lot in this video. Please put in the comments below maybe what I missed or what I didn't explain very well. And then I'm going to do a few more designs over the next few weeks. And then I'll try to do better and better in each of them, taking into consideration what you're going to tell me in these comments about what I need to do better. Okay, is that a deal? So, all right, so thanks again. Download that. And here we go. Let's go through. This is my property. Okay, I have zoomed in this quite a bit so you can see the details of what I'm doing here. But right now, if you haven't done this already, download, there's a link in the description below this video. Download the step-by-step document and then just follow along step by step. I'm going to go through it kind of quick here. I pre-drew a bunch of it so this video doesn't take too long. We'll do a few other examples over the next month or so, but I just want to get you kind of going. The first part is really simple. Maybe the last part that I have kind of saved here is a little bit more complicated. There's a little bit of thought that goes into it, but I know that you're smart enough to figure this out, but I'll just go through it on here. So grab your piece of paper and a pencil. First thing, get your property line drawn in. Mine's just a square 40. That's the black line along the outside here. Second thing, or step 3, draw in your water features, and I just had a couple little ponds on the property. Step 4, I don't have any elevation changes on this property. It's flat, but if you do have elevation changes, draw that in there. Just kind of draw it in as topo lines, like a topographical map. Then draw in the house, or if it's a property, draw in the camp. If you don't have any camp or anything, and you just got a little parking spot, just draw the parking spot in. Like, where are you starting from every time you go out and go hunting? Draw in any public roads. My property doesn't have any public roads. I've got one way out to the west here, but I don't have them. But draw that in. If you've got a public road right here and a public road if you're on a corner, just draw those in there so you know. Mark existing property food sources. I'm on step 7 here in the green, so I have marked my food plots in the green there. If you have food plots, draw those in. If you don't have any yet, that's great. It's not a big deal. That's something that you'll be working on. I guess maybe if you have like an orchard, you would draw that in there, or a few apple trees in a spot, anything that might draw a deer to want to come and get a snack and get some food. Maybe a few oak trees for some acorns or persimmons or something like that. Just kind of draw those little spots on your property in there. Okay, so now we're on step 8. So mark your neighbor property. So anything that's going to influence their movement. If there's a bedding area that you count on, draw that in there. If there's ag, you can see around mine, I've got ag down here. I've got egg out over here a little ways, just a fallow field on the top. And once in a while I have egg here. This is, if you've watched the channel, they grow pickles here. So that's not really egg. But last year they grew corn. So that kind of changes things a little bit. So once in a while I would call that egg. So just kind of draw that in around the outside of your property. If there's somebody's house, you got to draw their house in right there. If they have a camp, anything that may change or influence deer movement from the outside that's out of your control, put that on there. So now I'm moving on to step number 9. If there's a property where you have a confrontational relationship with the neighbor, draw that on there. I am lucky. I'm very fortunate that I have great neighbors, and I can get permission from everybody to recover game. If I shoot something that goes on there, we can get permission, and I do the same for them. I help them find stuff if something comes on my place. So get that on there, and then now I'm on step number 10. Now this is the red dotted line you see on here. The outermost perimeter of your property. Draw a path that you could walk. You don't have to be able to drive a truck through it, but that you can physically walk on during hunting season. So if it's a wet area, you can't count that. If it's too steep, you can't draw your perimeter trail going through an area that's too steep. You have to go around that. So you can see the dotted red line. I'm fortunate that as close to my property line, I can get my trail all the way around there. But if I had, say, a real steep hill right here, my foot trail would have to go around that steep hill. Or a wet area, like if I had a wet area in this whole corner here, I can't go through the wet area, especially if it's cold. If you're in the north, breaking ice is going to be too noisy. So I would have to have my footpath would have to cut across like that. And I would have to leave this area not as an area that I can go through. Now I have moved to step number 11. So choose a location for a blind or a stand on each of the sides of your property. So what the idea here is, you will use the outermost property trail that you just drew in. You're going to use that to get to these blinds and stands that you put on there. So for me, I put a blind right here because it's close to the house. I put another one right here because it's close to the house. Deer are used to movement and activity and smell in this area. These are great blinds that I use for doe hunting. Buck hunting, I reserve for the blinds that are a little bit more remote and have a higher probability that a mature buck will be by those blinds, and they might not come up close to the house no matter how used they are to it. But the idea is, you have this perimeter trail. Try to locate a blind in a spot that you can get access to from this trail. If you can, try to center it on your property line. If this runs north and south, I try to get that as close to the center as I can. It gives you options on each side. But you don't always have that choice, right? Like you might have, if there's a woods that comes here like this, you might have a natural edge there or an elevation change, then that's where you're going to put that blind. Okay, so just kind of think through that on each of your perimeters. Where could you put a blind that you can use this trail that you just drew in to get to that blind? Okay, and so you might ask, well, why do we have one on 4 sides? And because it allows you in any wind, anytime, to have a place to hunt. If you get a day off of work, doesn't matter what the wind is doing that day, you got a place to go hunting. That's why we want one on each side of your property if possible. Okay. All right, now I'm on to step 12. So draw in a comfortable shooting range, what we'll call a hunting range, around each blind, and that's this red line right here. So about 50 yards for me. I'm comfortable about 50 yards with my bow. So I just kind of draw, and this is not to scale, but about a 50-yard circle around each of the blinds. Now, one of the things I'll say is, because I have permission on everybody's property, I'm okay shooting anywhere in this hunting zone. But let's say I did not have permission to hunt here. Let's just say, or to recover game. I want to try to make sure that I would probably put this blind a little bit deeper, and then I would only shoot away from the blind so that there would be maybe 50 or 60 yards. If that deer, I shot him and he took off running, he's probably going to expire before he gets to the property line. You want to try to set yourself up so that wherever you get a shot on that animal, it's got a high probability of perishing before it gets to an area where you cannot get permission to hunt. Does that make sense? But because I can, I have a wide fan that I am able to hunt in all of my blinds. Because if I shoot one really close to the property line and it goes over here, that's okay. You know, if I shoot him 20 yards off here and he runs 50 yards and he's 30 yards in there, I can get permission to recover him, okay? Okay, so that's what that is for. So now I'm on step 13. So this is the fun part. This is where we start figuring out all the pieces. What we're going to do now is draw a line from ag areas, basically from food areas, past each of your hunting zones. So the reason that we're doing that is because we're trying to build a pattern for the deer to follow. Okay? So for example, let's just say I've got ag down here, and I've got these red areas for the hunting. Like I can get a shot at something in these red areas. So from ag to the red area, I'm just drawing a line. Ag to red, ag to red. I've got ag out here. So ag to red. This is ag to red, ag to red. Does this make sense what I'm doing here? And you could, you know, I can keep drawing this, but I don't want to get too messy on here. So from each of these now, you've got the second half of a deer's path in every evening. You want them to go through your hunting zone on their way out to ag, okay? So now you're just basically going to extend each of these lines to a spot to locate bedding. This whole thing, all of your hunting, your whole property design is based on bedding and bedding location. That is number one of any property plan. So for example, so what I'm saying in step 14 is to extend these. So I'm going from ag to my red area. So if I extend it through, I'm going to there. If I extend this through, I'm going to here. If I extend this one through, I'm coming to here. So just guess what this area right here should be. Exactly, it should be bedding. Because if this is bedding, that means they're here, and every evening they're going to go through my hunting zone on their way out to ag. Get up, through my hunting zone on their way to ag. Okay? Now, it's not always going to be a perfect straight line, but you do the best you can. So here's another one where I can put bedding in here because it's perpendicular, it's parallel, it's very close where they would get up. If I give them a reason to come into here and say they're going to go this way to go out to their ag, I can get them to go through my hunting zone, So I extend this, I guess we're going up into here, and this one would come up into here. So if I put bedding here, what I'm going to try to do, if they may just go straight to ag, but I'm going to put a traction in here to try to get them to come through here before they go that way, okay? So now you're getting the idea that this, and this are the major bedding areas for me on my property. It is positioning them every single day in the spot that has the highest probability of getting them to walk past one of my blinds in the red zone, in the hunting zone, while it's light out, okay? So that really is the whole plan right there. Now you have all the pieces, you have all the blocks, you have all the general areas on your property that you have gone through to know where should I put a blind, where should I put bedding, where should I put some food plots, okay? So this is really just phase one. To get the blocks on there, you can go in and start making some bedding areas. You can put a blind here, you can put this trail in, you can start working on the infrastructure immediately and start really starting to change the effectiveness of your property. So I'm sure there are a lot of questions on this. I'm just trying to go through it really fast. Print that out. The link is below in the comments. Go get a copy of that thing, print it out, and just sit down there and think. And it might take you a few nights. Come back to it a few different times and go through each of those steps and think about where to put those blinds and where to start putting that bedding so that you can get them to cross through that area. The key, the takeaway from this, and then I'm going to be quiet, is place the bedding and then get a reason for them to come from that bedding into your hunting zone and then out to wherever they want to go for the rest of the night, or on their way back in the morning. They're out here in the morning, they're going to come back through here, get a drink, hit the scrape, and then go up in here and go to bed. Okay, this is the important part: locating the bedding and locating your blind. Okay, or it could be a tree stand, whatever you choose to hunt from. All right, that's enough. So leave comments, questions down below, and then I will use that to make the next video better than this one. All right, thanks for watching.